All right. You're on mute, David.
Hey, David, can you hear us?
Oh, there you go.
There I go. Sorry about that. So what I'd like you to do is first, just bring your arms up. You don't have to lift them way up, but lift them up a little bit, palm up. And first, just see if you can feel the movement of your Laogong point. So you want to simply very slightly cup the palm so that you feel the Laogong point sinking inward, and then open the palm and feel the Laogong point expanding outward. Because when you're doing this, we want the Laogong point to be your metronome. There are actually about 50 places in your body you could focus on, but actually Laogong is the place that you want to use. It's the launching point for your movement, the center of your metronome. And as you're doing that, see if you can feel as you close Laogong and allow it to sink in, if you can feel the fascia begin to move up the inside of your arm, the yin side. And as you open Laogong and begin to extend it, feel the energy flow out the yang side. And I did find that when beginning to do this, doing it pretty slowly was helpful. Don't feel you have to make it quick. Now relax your arms for a moment. And I want you to go into movement 3. And I want you to start with your arms up at the top. And you're going to go to 3 first, stretching the yang meridians out. And just pause a moment there. Feel those yang meridians moving outward. And also feel your feet solidly planted on the ground. Then go to 6 and close Laogong and feel the energy coming in your yin meridians up to your shoulders. And then go to 9, open Laogong Go to the yang meridians. And be sure again that your feet are really solidly on the ground. And then close Laogong as you go to 12. And feel the yin meridians. Then go to 3. Energy going out the yang side. Then close Laogong as you go to 6 and coming in the yin. Then out the yang to 9. And in the yin to 12. Out. In. Out. And back in. Feel Laogong opening and closing at each of those points. And feel the energy either flowing out the yang or in the yin, and nothing happening on the other side. And if you haven't reversed direction, do so, please. And if you feel you'd like to add something else, one of the things that you could at least eventually add in is coordinating your bubbling well point on the feet with Laogong. The question is the opening and closing of the bubbling well point in your feet also arriving at Laogong? Somehow you want to feel like they are together, that they're coordinated, a one-piece deal. And then eventually you want to get even further, you can do it with the crown of your head at Bai Hui also. But if you can get just the yin and yang surfaces from fingertips to shoulder at the moment, that's just fine. And for a little bit, I'd like you to, each time you come to 12, reverse direction. So go one way around and then go the other way. And all you're doing is getting your body used to opening up these two circles and feeling those yin and yang surfaces moving. And then the next time you arrive at 12, let your arms keep bending and pull your energy down to your dantian and down to your feet. And then relax. So you can sit down for a minute. So what did you feel or not feel?
I think it
Oh,
made a difference in dimension when they're doing the bubbling well coordination with the Laogong point.
Mm.
That made it feel like a movement through the whole body.
Good.
And it felt, there was definitely some feeling there. I'm not sure if it was fascia, but the energy flow.
Good.
Because in practice prior to this, last couple of classes, I'm kind of feeling both the yin and the yang at the same time. Or not at the same time, but with that focus. So it's a little distracting almost for me to only be feeling the yin at that point and then the yang. I mean, I am feeling them both, but obviously one is far more prominent than the other.
Yeah.
So if that is what it is, should I be doing something different, or is there a particular reason for that, or just so we really understand what's happening at that point of closing?
Yeah, you want, yes, you do want to be really clear about where your focus is and what you're endeavoring to do. And yes, it's not that you don't have any awareness of the opposite surface, you just don't want it to move. So it doesn't mean that you're not, that you're ignoring the other side. You're not. You're simply not moving it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that my yang side, at least with what we were doing, was way more activated than the yin.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and as Bill said, when you injected the bubbling well into it, I felt it immediately. I hadn't thought of that or focused on it at all when we prior to your saying that, and wow, it was there.
They are very connected.
Yeah.
If we connect them.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I was kind of the opposite. I found it was much easier to connect with the yin side of things than the yang, especially in the lower parts of the arm. Going, from kind of like the forearm through the wrist to the hand, out to the fingertips. I found that was especially kind of a dead spot. Yeah, it seems very easy and natural to connect with the fascia on the inside of the hand and arm, and really feel that movement causing the Laogong point to sink. But kind of going the other way, it doesn't feel like the fascia moving on the outside of the arm and the energy moving on the outside of the arm is like pushing, I guess, pushing the Laogong point, forward. I had some success almost thinking of it kind of the opposite, instead of sinking down on the, with the yin, like the back of the hand sinking back.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it's just a whole lot of tightness in the hand, you know, or, yeah.
I'm not sure about that either, because I can't really see.
Hmm.
I think that you want to think more that the Laogong point is causing the movement and timing the movement rather than the movement is causing the Laogong point to move.
Hmm. Okay.
That when you were talking, I was sitting here trying to do what I felt you were saying, that moving the fascia was causing the Laogong point to move. And I found that much harder to do than having the Laogong point move the fascia.
Hmm. Okay.
So maybe it may help a little to think about it in another way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that sounds good. It sounds like you're all making connections and beginning to be able to do that, which is really good. In some forms of Qigong and Taiji, they focus more at different times in the movements on Laogong and at different times on the bubbling well point, Yongchuan. But the assumption is whether they're doing either one is that Laogong and the bubbling well point are joined together. It is just the question that you know which is the leader and which is the follower, so that you know when you are, where you are putting your attention. But eventually, if you can have the Laogong point and the bubbling well point happening together, that's the best. Until that time, focus on Laogong because it's easier to do that. The palm of the hand is easier to do than the ball of the foot. And okay. So what I'd like you to do is to actually do a flow. Just 10 repetitions. And now begin to think about that yin and yang surface movement, at least in the arms, and the connection of the Laogong point and Yongchuan throughout the entire flow, the entire set, not just in 3, because it is present all the time.
Mhm.
Okay.
So try that.
David, is it better to have us facing you or sideways?
Either one, but that's interesting. Why don't you try it sideways, Bill, just to, since usually I've seen you from the front. Certainly there are things I can see if you
Yeah,
try.
I was just looking at my own image, and I have a dark top on, and this all gets blended together. So when I'm
You have
facing
a
it.
nice light background, however. So. Good. Looked to me like there was some progress there, but how did you feel about yin and yang surfaces in the other postures?
Pretty good. I think it became easier as the flow progressed. One was a bit challenging, but I think by two, it seemed like things were kind of coming online,
Uh-huh.
and it became kind of easier to stay with it as I moved through 4, 5, and 6.
Uh-huh. Good.
Yeah, I had the same kind of getting easier thing. At first, maybe it was sort of like the Laogong was either in or out, and I was having difficulty having the transition, between the being in and out be gradual.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that requires some more work, I think.
Yeah. Not surprising. Good.
Right, but maybe I had a little bit of the opposite of Bill, just finding the Laogong, really that metronome. Yeah, really helpful and enhancing. Yeah.
Good.
Practice.
Yeah.
I had a little hard time and I couldn't figure out why, kind of connecting to the bubbling well at first, but I think I realized that I'm standing on a couple of those floor mats because of my knees and the like, and I think they're just a bit more challenging. It's different than standing on the floor.
Yeah.
And so I realized that at some point. But I have to say I'm still feeling challenged by 6. I feel the energy in all the others, and then I feel I lose it. Maybe it's just my doubt that I'm doing it correctly or whatever, but I do feel like I kind of lose it by 6, and I don't feel that with any of the others at all.
Your 6 looked pretty good.
Oh, good. Maybe it's just like, yeah, no, you're doing it okay, right? Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah. You want to say anything, Bill Nagel?
Pretty much the same as Adam, a little slow to start. 3, 4, 5 felt best, probably 4 the best. And that's been the case in my practice at home. 6, I'm beginning to connect with the central channel. That's a work in progress, but I'm beginning to sense it finally.
Oh, good. Good. I think the one thing that I was going to say that really pretty much everybody can work on, and you're all kind of at different places with this, but really making sure that your bending and stretching are extending through the appropriate parts of each movement, and that it's happening both in all the parts of your body simultaneously in coordination. Because that makes a real difference, and obviously it's connected to everything that we're doing. So simply making sure that that's clear, because I think that when you, for instance, when your body gets stuck, obviously that causes some interruption of the flow of the energy. But also when the arms start extending while the body is still bending, or vice versa, that also causes some interruption. And so you're really trying to find, at this point, how do I really get everything in the entire world of my body to coordinate and to be clear in your mind, but clear in your movement. Because it will help then to clarify the movement of the energy. Everybody has places where it isn't happening quite the way that I'm sure you want it to happen. And that's just a matter of practice. But I just wanted to remind you to really have some focus on that, because it makes a big difference. Whether you're doing Qigong or Tai Chi, either one. So other questions or thoughts at the moment? Well, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and
Yes.
survive the crowds that you're meeting with. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, you too,
Yeah.
David.
You also, David, thank you.
Thank you.
Stay well.
You too.
I might say to the two of you that clearly the two of you are more advanced than the other two are. The clarity of your movements is much much clearer than
Have more to base it on, sure.
yeah, absolutely. It was interesting that you said that, Joanne, about 6. It wasn't that I particularly thought about 6, but it seemed to me that for whatever reason you had made a significant step forward in this week. You just looked like you were connecting more.
It was a clicking, yeah, yeah.
Things were clicking,
together.
indeed, clicking better. And actually, Adam, your coordination and movement was really very good. That note probably didn't go much to you at all, and not much
Right.
really to you either, Joanne.
Okay. I find focusing on the fascia really helps coordinate the movement.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, something about working at that layer. It really feels all or nothing. It almost feels like you've tapped into kind of this substance that's just under the skin everywhere. And you know, any movement anywhere is having an impact everywhere else.
Yep. It's all
Or
connected.
yeah, or you know, you're not touching into it, you know.
Yeah.
Like some repetitions, it seem to go away and then, you know, come back on the next repetition. But it makes it difficult to, I don't know, have things disjointed, it feels like. You know, 'cause you feel when you're running out of movement somewhere else very easily, you know,
Yes.
like if you rose too quickly. Yeah, so. It's a
Right,
really good
right.
practice. I
You
like
were
it.
popping up today, Adam.
What's that? I was popping up?
You weren't.
Oh, I wasn't. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like the butterfly effect on your body. Yeah, one little flap of the wing somewhere affects the whole thing, right?
Yep.
But I think even the concept of fascia, you know, we've been, even though I didn't have the depth of understanding really until now, it's not a foreign concept to us, to Adam and I in our practice, right? In
Right.
terms of something we've been trying, I've been trying, at least I'll speak personally, to kind of get in touch with, and just kind of, it, you know, again, it kind of, yeah, several weeks ago, just kind of like, oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that extra work on it, yeah, just kind of made everything, yeah, clearer. But I also don't feel, I don't feel held back by the others either, though.
Oh,
I
no.
think partially, and I always used to say I loved Richard in class because he'd ask the questions I'd never think about asking. Like, oh, yeah, why didn't I think of that? You know, some of the most basic stuff. So in that way, I know, yeah, I feel like it's working.
Yeah. By the way, I talked to him recently and he said to say hello.
Oh,
I miss him. I miss
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just overwhelmed with work.
No, he had one knee replaced
Oh, no.
and he's going to have the other one done early January.
Wow.
Okay.
And so he's been focusing on recovering from that. And he's not teaching right now. But he is doing one of his
Consulting,
consulting jobs.
one of his many.
They seem to keep coming to him, certainly.
Well, he must be good at his work because yes, he always has work. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure he is. Anyway.
Anyway, so clearly this all applies directly to the Wu style.
Mm-hmm.
And probably you've been working on it already anyway, as Joanne said.
Yeah, whenever we learn one thing, it's not compartment. I think that it's not compartmentalized, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that is, and it's one of the reasons I kind of like the fact that you're at least doing some practice of the Wu. I understand that your focus really is God's at the moment, but yeah, what we're learning God's it needs to go into the form too, and it isn't. The thought I had about that this week, I was thinking how, and I fall into this certainly, I start to put everything into the first paragraph. And it's really important to also put it in the second and third.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes Master Joe used to suggest focusing on the third paragraph. He used to, I've probably said this before, but he used to say it's all in the third paragraph.
Right.
And in a way that's true with the repetitions that appear in the third paragraph. You kind of have everything appearing there. And so kind of a good idea to sometimes not get stuck in the first paragraph, but move on into the second or third and try to bring things into those sequences too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just a thought. So, any questions in the form at all? Or about postures where you're finding it difficult to do any of these things in the form?
I want to get back to the yin and yang question, maybe.
Sure.
I'm still pondering that piece of it, of kind of, because I think that I had been really feeling like that I was supposed to be feeling both simultaneously, right? Certainly within the practice, right? Obviously feeling one more than, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting confused about it. It's just one more layer of, wait a minute, what was I doing and what should I be doing? Keeping something, yeah, right, yeah.
Well,
you know what I mean? You know what I'm here? You know what
no, I know. I think I know exactly what you're saying, and it's like a number of things that we talk about or focus on from time to time. There are just numerous things happening simultaneously.
Mhm.
Right, right.
It's not that there's only one flow of the energy in the body. There are
Right.
numerous patterns of flow of
Yep.
energy in the body, and they're all happening all the time. It's not that they stop. We stop our focus
Yeah.
time to time on, or only limit our focus so that we can develop a specific aspect. But ultimately, yes, we want to be aware of as much as we can.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And yin and yang, um, there, it's all happening all the time in both directions.
Right.
And that's confusing, but we are emphasizing one or the other
Mhm.
without ideally totally losing connection with
Yeah.
the other, particularly for you guys.
Mm.
Yep. Right. I mean, I can't lose it. I think that's what I'm saying. You know,
And that's
I've honed
good.
it enough
That's good.
that I can't lose it, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, it's allowing yourself to feel the emphasis in one way or the other.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, as we were talking today, if you're moving the energy up the yin side of the arm, it doesn't mean that there's nothing happening on the yang side of the arm. It's
Right.
just that you're not trying to do anything on the yang side
Yep.
of the arm.
Mm.
Yeah. I could probably feel that most in 3. Yeah.
Well, 3, yeah, I think one of the reasons that Bruce chose to focus on 3 at this point is that is a particularly good posture to feel that.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's the thing that comes to my mind is that those 2 circuits, really 3 that I think of that are going on, of energy that are going on simultaneously, that we actually really want to be aware of all of them simultaneously, is similar to being aware of the yin and yang. And that is, of course, we have the flow of the energy from the earth to the universe and back to the earth again, flowing through the body in a relatively straight line, shall we say. And then there's the flow from the dantian to the extremities and back to the dantian.
Mhm.
And then there's the flow of the side channels into the center and back to the side and into the center. And all of that's going on at once. And we really would like eventually to be aware of all of those happening simultaneously.
Mm.
But we don't emphasize all of them equally simultaneously.
Right. Right.
So when you're doing 4, the emphasis really is going down and up through the side channels. But when you get to 5 and 6, it's that circuit of
Right.
side to center and center to side.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does that confuse the issue, or does that?
No, it doesn't. No.
Okay.
Good enough for me.
Good. I'm not meaning to confuse it, but it,
No.
No, I think it makes it clear.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's interesting when we get to this level in these practices. Talking about yin and yang is it's not meaningless, but it has less meaning in a way. In that, yes, there is that continual flow of one to the other going on, but we're not just focusing on a big one-on-one exchange here. We've gone well beyond that. And yes, yin and yang could be used to describe it, but it's far more complex than simply yin and yang.
Yes, yeah.
It's like how yin and yang separates into the 8 gates.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
eight gates separate ultimately into the 64 gates.
Hmm.
So
Right, yeah.
it goes on and on.
Right.
Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
No, it's a lot. Yeah, I'll have house guests for at least 3 days this weekend, so it'll be a little finding space time. Some of them are grandchildren, so that makes it even harder. I can tell my sister to cool out, but it's harder to tell the 8 and 10-year-olds that.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
Well,
I'll do the best I can.
I recognize the issues everybody's going to have who's having house guests this
Yeah,
weekend.
right, yeah.
I hope you have a wonderful time, though.
Thank you. I'm
You too.
looking forward to it. All right. Be well, everybody. See you next week, hopefully.
Okay, take care.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
David. Bye, Joanne.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Anna.